reminders of our holidays in the Mediterranean. So, Maily Serra, please tell us about your talk about Sardinia.
Okay. Sardinia is located in a central position in the Mediterranean Sea. For this reason, over centuries, it has been traced by a lot of conquest by many populations. During medieval period, we have the conquest of Vandals, then a conquest of Byzantine people, and in the late Middle Ages by Catalans. The methodology I used to analyze three case study is that of landscape archaeology. So I collected all kind of data I can found for each settlement. During late Roman period, Sardinia has been traced by the building of 4 main big roads that still survives. The study area is situated in the southern part of the island, and along the main road called Via Atibulas Sulci, that is this green one, and Via Aportutibulas Calares, that is the blue one. In the early Middle Ages, Sardinia was divided into 4 kingdoms, but we don't exactly know how it happens and when. We know only that in the 6th century, there was an internal Ducatus Barbaricinorum, that is an autonomous entity, but we don't know exactly its boundaries and its limits. The Kingdom of Calari is the southern kingdom, and it survives from it survived until Catalan conquest in 1324. The 3 case study are those of Santa Igia, Sarkapos, and Nora. In medieval period, that was a good management system about sea, lagoon, and river. In fact, we have Maiore de Porto, Maiore de Aquas, and Buia de Pesqueria, that are typical management system that we have here in Sardinia. Santa Igia was the capital city of Calari Kingdom. The city was not in the same location of a Roman one called Calaris, because at the end of the 7th century, Arabs attacked and burning the Roman city. Actually, Calares is in over Roman city, and in fact, you can see also a lot of ruins of this period. But after Arab attack, people moved to the west side of the lagoon and founded a new capital city called Santa Igia. People moved into the lagoon because of the Arab attack. Sardinia has been characterized by a lot of hydrogeological instability, and all the Sardinian coastline has been eroded over a century. In some periods, it has been characterized by the lower sea level or by an increased sea level. A lot of climate change and river flooding determined the movement of a lot of coastal settlements. Santa Igia, to analyze, to study this city, I collected all archaeological data, and I also looking for the situation of sediments. In fact, a lot of archaeological data seems to have been found under alluvial sediments. All this side, all the west side of the city. Through ancient map, I could find the location of the original cathedral called Santa Igia and the ancient road system of the city. The road system of this city consists in two survival roads, parallel roads, but the last one, this one, is actually covered by the lagoon. I put with the GIS a big part of the archaeological finds divided into chronology, and all medieval chronology are situated in the northern part of the city, as the earlier one are situated in the southern part. In this part of the city, there was also a medieval pischeria, a medieval system to manage sand land. As you can see by the comparison of these three maps, coastline changed over centuries, and actually this part was not over the sea in the 30s. Santa Igia has an original Nuragic area, so a settlement dated during the Bronze Age. There was also a Phoenician and Punic settlement, but then a stronger hydrogeological instability caused the movement of the people, and they created the Roman Carales in the eastern part of the Gulf. After Arab attack, people moved on the west side of the lagoon, but in this site they built their city over sediments. This capital city has been the main city of the kingdom until Pisan army destroyed Santa Igia and found a new city in the location of the previous Roman one, but over the hill. This one. This is the Pisan medieval city, and this is the Roman one. The city of Santa Igia was characterized by an agricultural, farming, fishing, and salt flat exploitation. The city make trade with European kingdoms and have all around a complex system of scattered little farms and only few big settlements that were located along Roman road. It has also a lot of monasteries that after Pisan conquest are always abandoned. With this research, I can answer to the location of the main church and the cathedral. I can analyze and tell about and talk about the shape of the new urban planning and the road system of the ancient villa, and correct located the rubbish area of the medieval dump. But there are still new questions about the village. That is the exact chronology of the previous archaeological finds, because not all archaeological excavation has been published. And also the real meaning of settlements names, because a lot of academics say that Santa Igia is the corruption of the name Sancta Cecilia. But I think that because of the presence in the lagoon of the Aesculapius sanctuary, Hygia was one of his daughter. So it is possible that this toponymous, this place name, take place from the original sanctuary. It's not possible to analyze medieval houses because of Italian ministry does not allow test pits. I asked many times, but it's not possible. So until nowadays, we can only study the city about ancient documents and ancient cartography, but without doing test pits. The second case study is those of Sarkapos. Sarkapos was a famous center named in a Roman itinerary, Antonine itinerary, and it was located along the Flumendosa, the biggest river of the island. This settlement had two ports, one seaport and one river port. But it was characterized also by the presence of a castle on the other side of the river, and one other big castle was here on the north, and is this one, and it is the castle of Quirra. Sarkapos is in the actual municipality of Villapuz, that is all this area. But in the past, it was divided into two districts, the districts of Quirra and the districts of Sarrabus. Each district have its own castle, the castle of Quirra and the castle of Malvicino, and its main village, main city, Sarkapos, and the village of Quirra. This area was characterized by the mines exploitation, while this one was a big Phoenician Punic Roman market. We have these ancient maps that can allow us to make a comparison between the two distinct districts. The districts in which was located Sarkapos, that is in that point, and the other districts with the castle of Quirra. You can see all these settlements along the Flumendosa River. Still until 1843, the two different districts were well distinguished. And in all these cases, we can find a lot of archaeological metalwork dated to the 7th to 8th century. And we know by documents that there was a lot of settlements, most of them abandoned. Sarkapos was very important for the management system in that area of the island, because there was two different seaports in that point and that one. This was the big mines that has been exploited since Roman period, and the big city was situated in the top of this hill, while in that part there was the castle of Malvicino, which controlled both river route and the Roman route that is in this way. But this kind of system has a lot of comparison in the island, in particular on the northeast coast of the island, as the case of San Teodoro and the case of Orosei, both in the Kingdom of Gallura. In all these cases, there was a big river and two different port systems, sea system, marine system, a marine port and a river port, with a castle that dominated the river port in all three cases. What kind of relationship between settlement and the river? The relationship were very problematic because this river is one of the most large of the island. It frequently flooding. So villages moved a lot of times over centuries. But it was also a river route with a law to connect coastal sites and inland area, the barbarian area, so the area of the Ducatus Barbaricinorum, that was maybe the first kind of kingdom in the island. We can say that because still medieval period, this settlement allows to the bishopric of Barbaria. So even if the Ducatus Barbaricinorum disappeared over century, the bishopric of this Ducatus still survived until the end of the Middle Ages. Sarkapos has been partially excavated by the University of Bologna, but they didn't publish the result of this research. So we can analyze the settlement only by ancient documents and ancient cartography and scattered finds. Sarkapos have an agricultural pastoral farming, fishing and mangrove exploitation, but was also an Phoenician, Punic and Roman important markets for trade. It was characterized by hydrogeological instability, and both Sarkapos as Villa Pupussi, that is actual Villa Puzzu, moved many times because of floods of the river. New question for the future: the exact relationship between Sarkapos and the castle. The castle has been abandoned in the 13th century, but it was very ancient. Maybe it is a Byzantine fortress, because the characteristic of the entire area are those of the Byzantine fortress. The only analysis we can make in this area without excavating is geophysical analysis to found the urban planning of the settlement. The last case is those of Nora. Maybe you know Nora because it's a famous Roman archaeological area. Nora has its Roman, Punic and Roman archaeological area in that point, but in the other side of the lagoon, there was the big Nuragic settlement. Nora had a lot of problems because all the excavation made in 50s are unpublished. So we have not the scientific data about all the excavation of the villa. So only a little part that is excavated with scientific methods is possible to analyze at the moment. The western part of the big archaeological area is characterized by the presence of the Christianity and the early Middle Ages evidences. The crater called Macellum has been reused as all the area B, and in this part of the sea has been built the first Christian church. We know by documents that Justiniano ordered to build a presidium in all Sardinia, and in this period we know that the big Terme a Mare, that one, has been reused as a military presidium in Byzantine period. We have the Anonimo Ravennate, who wrote in 7th century that Nora had was a big Byzantine presidium. In Roman term, archaeologists found a lot of Byzantine pottery and signs of a reuse, but as Terme collapsed, it is actually not possible to analyze in which way they reuse this term as a presidium. In the 7th century, a new craft area has been built, reusing all previous architectonical elements, while the Roman Macellum has been enlarged and reused. And we can see all the Opus Africanum, that is this technique to rebuild walls that in Sardinia is typical of from 5th to 7th century. This is how actually remain of the church, because coastline still changes and almost covered almost all the church. As we can see in this ancient map, in the 19th century, we had not a lagoon. We have a completely different coastline. This is the actual lagoon. And in this point, we have the Nuragic site, and in this one, the Phoenician Panic and Roman site. After Arab attack in the 7th century, also in this case, people moved. People moved in this position and create a new settlement called Paule Nurra. This site is mentioned in medieval documents, while this one has been completely abandoned. In this map, that is dated 1592, but reused previous map, we can see the new the movement of the people from the coast to this new site called Nora instead of Paule Nora. So during late antiquity and the early Middle Ages, this settlement that was a big famous market and then military presidium has been reused, and a big large part of a Roman villa has been occupied. Also in this case, hydrogeological instability determine the movement of the people. So starting from the early Middle Ages, also economic system change. The market has been abandoned, and the medieval management system was only agricultural and farm, based on agriculture and farming. A lot of questions there are about this site. For instance, the exact chronology of the movement, the exact chronology of all ancient archaeological finds. But one answer has been made, so that is the earlier relationship between the actual municipality of Pula, that is Paule Pula, this one, because archaeologists wrote that this site has been created in 1320s. But all documents and also archaeological evidence show us that this movement can be dated previously, because this ancient map that are dated in 15th century reuse early medieval maps. We know this because of the presence of a lot of settlements that are surely be abandoned in the early Middle Ages. In particular between the 7th and the 18th century. So also this movement can be dated in this period and not in 14th century. Summing up, I argue that the three case studies, Santa Igia, Sarkapos, and Nora, were the main villas of the three curatorie, so of the three main districts of the kingdom. Archaeologists still write that the curatoria system born on 11th, 12th century, but combining all this data, ancient Roman road, ancient documents, and ancient map, we can say that curatoria system born around 7th, 8th century, because of the district's villa named the curatoria. New question is if it is possible to apply this kind of methods to all the Sardinia kingdoms, because the problem is always the same. Coastal settlements has been abandoned at the same time, around 7th, 8th century. 8th century, but all districts, all curatorie have the as main villa these abandoned villages, settlement. So I think that this method, it is possible to apply this method to all Sardinia kingdoms, to analyze, to examine the exact chronology of the burning of the curatoria system, so the burning of the early Middle Age in Sardinia.